everybody, it's Kelli Folsom here. I've just finished up week 5, which as I said was pretty intense for me. I, as a kid, suffered from a lot of emotional neglect and emotional trauma, and that has been coming up for me. So give me a moment. A lot of that has been coming up for me in this week, in week 5. So, which is crazy because it's called Recovering a Sense of Possibility is week 5. But she starts off talking about limits, beliefs that we have, and blocks and limits that are limiting our powerful creativity. And so sometimes what that means is kind of digging out things that still have yet to be dealt with that are blocking you. And one of those things is for me, just in my childhood, just emotional neglect. And some trauma that I experienced as a kid that is obviously still there. We kind of carry that stuff with us for the rest of our lives in some ways, for better or for worse. It's not all bad. Sometimes some of the things that we've gone through actually make us a more vulnerable human being, and do benefit us and bless us in a lot of ways, but then also they can, contribute to blocks that we're having. So the first section of this chapter, she talks about just embracing the power of being a creative. And I don't have as much problem with that now, but definitely when I first started as an artist, I really belittled being an artist, and I really belittled this power of creativity that we have, and just how wondrous and beautiful and amazing it is. So you may be still not quite embracing that part of yourself and really recognizing that this is like a divine gift and a divine force that is in you and that is working through you. The big part of this chapter that really, really hit me big time is the virtue trap. Okay, the virtue trap. It's a big one for me. Oh my gosh. So working, trying so hard to be good to everybody all the time and do for everybody all the time. And I think probably a lot of women and possibly men, but I can only speak from the female point of view. I was raised the oldest daughter of 4 kids, and in a family that was, my mom was divorced twice and the single mother of 4 kids. And so as a female, as the oldest female, man, I got trained really early, like you have to do. And it was true. I had to do for everybody else because I was the oldest. I learned to cook at 10. I learned to clean, wash clothes, at a very early age. I learned to pack lunches. I babysat. My summers were spent taking care of my siblings, because my mom and my new stepdad both were working their butts off, just trying to survive, just trying to pay the bills. And we lived in like an impoverished neighborhood. And so it's not like their bills were great, but they just worked their butts off all the time. So anyway, so I definitely learned this as a female very early at age 10. Like, you go to school, make sure you get good grades, you do everything your teachers want you to do there. Then you come home and your evening and weekends are spent doing for your family, doing for your siblings, doing for your parents, cooking dinner. Obviously I didn't have to cook dinner every single night, but I did, that I kind of, grew up pretty quickly at age 10. Because of the demands of the family. And, I'm not complaining about that. But again, good or bad, good or bad, these things happen to us, and there are blessings and blocks within them, right? Anyways, but this virtue trap, this has been the one that really hit me this week and was intense for me. So she says, an artist must have downtime, time to do nothing. What's that? So because of the way that I was raised, it's like, if you're not doing anything, you are lazy. This is really a practice for me. And I'm so glad that I'm doing this book and this journey, because it is forcing me to look at these things and forcing me to look at, you know why you're so pissed off? You know why you're so angry? You know why you don't have the energy to go to the easel and paint? It's because you're not giving yourself time and space and quiet. You're not allowing yourself to just nurture yourself. It's so easy for us to do for everybody else and not to do for ourselves. And it really doesn't take much, It's not like, oh, all of a sudden you're just going to be sitting around and become a lazy beach bum, It really does not take much to get that spark, ignited again. So week 6, recovering a sense of abundance. I love this quote actually right here on this page by Leo Tolstoy. It says, true life is lived when tiny changes occur. And I do think so often we're like waiting for that big, eureka moment, flash of lightning, hit us over the head kind of changes. And really a lot of times the best and most effective changes happen little ways, little tiny changes, like cleaning out your one section of your closet or that messy drawer in your kitchen, or, it's like one little change at a time. I love this. Money is God in action. Raymond Charles Barker. And I think it's interesting. The specific word money is such a hang up for so many of us. And I can tell you, I have done so much work around my money beliefs over the last few years, around what I perceive my value and self-worth to be, my worth, because money is very much tied to how other people respond to your worth, to your level of self-worth. And I think that's something that a lot of people don't quite understand. You're not being rejected, you're being repelled because you do not value yourself enough to get that painting sale, or whatever the case may be, the money that you are hoping to make with your art. For example, you are getting repelled because you do not believe that you are worth it anyway. When you undervalue yourself, it's like you are walking around with this big Charlie Brown dirty boy cloud, like I stink, I got stinky energy. So, but he's always like, hey, play with me guys, hey, hang out with me guys. And oh, Pigpen, thank you so much, Marianne. Stinky boy Pigpen. And that is literally, even though we can't see it on the external, but that is literally who you are like and who I am like whenever I don't value myself, when I undervalue myself. So, we run around and we go, oh, love me. Oh, tell me that I'm worthy. And we're seeking like all of this external validation from other people, right? And external acceptance from other people. Yet we are like Pigpen. We are covered in this not valuable, dirty, stinky energy. And people are like, no, get away from me. And they may not even understand why they are doing that. It's not like they want to reject you, but they just are, right? This week is week 7, and that is all about, the chapter is called Recovering a Sense of Connection. I'm wondering how you guys have been doing. I have to tell you, I feel like this week has been so amazing, so beautiful. I feel like, whatever that rut and baggage was that I was in for so long over the winter is just being shed. So she goes straight in with the surgical knife on the next section, talking about perfectionism. And as you can see, I've probably underlined, I don't know how much of this section. I probably should have just highlighted the entire section on perfectionism because it is so powerful. All right. And okay, so some of the stuff that I underlined is getting it right, fixing it before I go any further. Oh my gosh. Perfectionism is a refusal to let yourself move ahead. And she says, perfectionism has nothing to do with getting it right. It has nothing to do with fixing things. It has nothing to do with standards. Perfectionism is a refusal to let yourself move ahead. It is a loop, an obsessive, debilitating, closed system that causes you to get stuck in the details of what you are writing or painting or making, and you lose sight of the whole. So if you are over analyzing your painting every step of the way, if you're every painting that you do, if you're going through with like that critical perfectionist eye, or that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, that's wrong, before you know it, all you're seeing is what's wrong. So the next section is on the topic of jealousy. This is a touchy one. None of us want to really admit that we are jealous or envious of other people, of other artists, but we are. We do get jealous. We do get envious. And I do think that the more jealous you are of somebody, the more envious you are of somebody, you really, really need to look at that. Remember, again, this week is all about recovering a sense of connection. And I feel like that is really taking responsibility and really being honest for what you're thinking, your feelings. When something like that green envy or that jealousy comes up, and then sometimes what we do is we go into judging mode. Oh, who does she think she is? Look at her. Meh, 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 meh. Or we go into victim mode, right? Well, how does she have so many followers? Well, how is she doing so well? Well, how is she selling so many paintings? And oh, I'm so sad. Listen, I'm not saying this from a place of judgment because I have had every single one of these thoughts. We feel ashamed about them. We feel guilty about them. We hide from them even in ourselves. But there is a map in jealousy. There is a path in jealousy and envy that you need to follow, that little path, those little stones of ugly feelings, ugly thoughts, because again, it's a desire in you, and it's an unfulfilled desire in you whenever you're jealous or envious of somebody else. This week, you guys, has been fantastic. I freaking loved this chapter so much. Recovering a Sense of Strength, chapter 8. Let's start here with the first section, which is on survival. And she's basically talking about we have to put ourselves out there, and we also have to share the pain and suffering that we've been through, and of course first acknowledge it when it comes to our inner artist self. So many of us sustain some critical damage along the artistic way and journey. And so in this section here, she is talking about that. She's talking about artistic losses. This could be anything from rejection to even as simple as a painting that did not work out, maybe an opportunity that fell through for you artistically. And she's basically comparing it to like a mother who has had a miscarriage. Some of these losses and pains can be that painful for our inner artist self. And we really do have to deal with them, acknowledge them, grieve them, and work through them. Otherwise, we will basically just get stuck in that pain and in that grief and not want to take the risk again. She says teachers, editors, mentors are often authority figures or parent figures for a young artist. And I wrote to the side, not literally. You can be an old artist, but you're just starting again on your artistic way, And teachers, mentors, people that you look up to, oh my gosh, they can either be incredibly encouraging, motivating, and supporting, or something that they say or your needs not getting met by them can be incredibly damaging as well. And so she's talking about this, and she says there is a sacred trust inherent in the bond between teacher and student. This trust, when violated, has the impact of a parental violation. This could not be more true. So she says a trusting student hears from an unscrupulous teacher that good work is bad or lacks promise, or that he or she, the good guru teacher, senses a limit to the student's real talent, or was mistaken in seeing that talent or acknowledging that talent to begin with. So I have to tell you, this could not be more true. I have had some of the most damaging instructors in my life, especially whenever I went to art school, to college, and I have to say so many of the artists there were just flattened, by the teacher's criticisms, by their acceptance or their rejection. It just became a nightmare, really. By the time I was a senior, I was 32 years old, and I was about 10 years older than all of the other students who were there. And I knew, this is bullshit. I had one teacher in particular who, I think she just did not like me. It was just a personal thing, but maybe not. I don't know. But she was really, really harsh. The criticism was not constructive criticism at all. She didn't like traditional still life painting, and she tried and tried and tried to convince me to do things that were more modern. She belittled what I did. She accused me of being stubborn, which I then said, well, aren't you stubborn too? Because you just want me to do what you want me to do, And I don't want to do that. I know what I like. I know what I love, and I know what I want to do, and I'm committed to that because I did have the strength that she's trying to encourage us to build in ourselves. I was able to, tell that teacher, you're not allowed in my studio anymore. We're done. There is a difference between just toxic criticism and constructive criticism. And we were exposed repeatedly to toxic criticism, to ostracism. I was totally ostracized from my entire graduating class for the work that I was doing. I was bullied for it. It was just absurd. But I knew, okay, outside of this bubble, when I graduate, these people are not going to be there to approve or disapprove of me. I'm on my own, baby. I'm going to be paying my own bills. I've got to show my own paintings. I've got to paint what my heart says to paint. Okay, this is one of my favorite sections of this chapter so much. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous and true. It's like truth bomb, gain disguised as loss. This is one of my favorite phenomenons in life. When you have a loss and you think it's truly a loss, but it's just a matter of perception, because I've had so many things that have in the beginning I've perceived as a weakness or a loss, and then voila, somehow they became an opportunity, or they became my superpower, So I love this phenomenon. When you keep getting the door slammed in your face, the universe is telling you this is not the path for you. There's something else for you that you need to try, and it's up to us to try and to look for a different way of doing it. One that you may have been scared of before, a path that you may have made fun of even before, a path that you are afraid will be belittled or not work or not be useful. All of these things. Everything you want is on the other side of fear, period. That's a quote by Jack Canfield. All right, have a happy weekend and happy painting. Bye.